Vanakkam, Namaskaram, the South Indian is here. It's that time in the history of a nation when destinies change, when rulers change, when policies change, and also politics changes to a large extent. We're talking about assembly elections which are knocking at our door, and of course, the mother of all elections, and that being 2024. And therefore, guarantees are the flavor of the season. The Congress's win in Karnataka was of course due to the ineptness of the incumbent BJP, but the 5 guarantees announced by Rahul Gandhi did the trick. The same has been repeated by the Congress party in Telangana, but with just one extra guarantee, making it 6.
To fulfill the aspirations of the people of Telangana, of my brothers and sisters of Telangana, we are announcing 6 guarantees, Mahalakshmi being the first one, and we are committed to fulfilling them, to fulfill each one of them. I, along with my colleagues, had the opportunity to be a part of the birth of this great state, Telangana. Now it is our duty to elevate it to new heights. It has been my dream to see the Congress government in Telangana that will work for all sections of our society.
Let me summarize what Sonia Gandhi said. She said that under Mahalakshmi, first of the 6 guarantees, 2,500 per month financial assistance will be given to women. Also, gas cylinders at 500 rupees and free travel in state transport buses across the state. Under the Raitu Bharosa scheme, an annual financial assistance of 15,000 for farmers, 12,000 per year to agricultural labourers, and a bonus of 500 per quintal for paddy above MSP. The Indirama housing scheme promises a piece of land and 5 lakhs for construction of homes for the homeless poor, besides a 250 square yard plot for families of martyrs in the state. The Grihajyoti scheme is to provide 200 units of free electricity to each poor household, while a health insurance cover of up to 10 lakhs and 4,000 pension to the poor is included under the Cheyuta scheme. And lastly, the Yuva Vikasam scheme. It offers 5 lakh financial assistance to students from poor backgrounds for pursuing higher education, besides establishment of Telangana international schools in every block. Well, sounds extremely ambitious, wouldn't you say? But then, like I said, it has worked in Karnataka, and therefore it's been replicated with one extra guarantee in Telangana. But then, ladies and gents, let's not forget that if KCR has an impressive win the first time around, it was because no one can take away his immense contribution in obtaining statehood for Telangana, and a spectacular win in 2018 when he won 88 out of 119 assembly seats was indeed on the promises that he had made to the people of Telangana. But then this time around, it's kind of a different story, as it is in the lifetime of every politician. The people have watched him very closely and are now questioning his inability to deliver on the promises or welfare schemes he announced. If Raitu Bandhu has been one of his most successful stories ever, there are also concerns that it made rich landlords richer. Or the 2 BHK house scheme, not only were these homes meant for the most poor sections of society delayed, even certain promises made under them, like 10% homes to minorities, have remained unfulfilled.
केसीआर ने जितने वादे किए थे, एक भी वादा पूरा नहीं किया। यहां अस्पताल बनाना था, अभी आधा अधूरा पड़ा है। आदिवासियों के लिए ढेर सारे वादे किए थे, एक भी वादा पूरा नहीं किया। आदिलाबाद में हवाई पट्टी बनानी थी, नहीं बना पाए। और 2 बेडरूम वाले घर आदिवासी भाइयों को देना था, दिया है क्या? आपको 2 बेडरूम वाला घर दिया है क्या? ये केसीआर कभी भी गरीबों का काम नहीं करते हैं, केवल और केवल अपने बेटे बेटियों का काम करने का काम एक केसीआर सरकार ने किया है।
Well, with due respects to the Home Minister, I'm sorry, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Koi wada pura nahi kiya, that he has not fulfilled any promise is gross exaggeration. But he has certainly not fulfilled all of them. And people watch you. If you say, I'll give you 10, they are looking at you whether you've delivered 9. That KCR failed to implement the SC/ST sub-plan and did not give 3 acres of land each to all landless Dalit families actually remains a huge concern. On the anvil of elections in Telangana, let's try and decode what worked and what did not work for the BRS. Joining me on the show, Dharam Gurva Reddy, who is senior leader of the BJP, Shyam Prasad Meka, Congress spokesperson, A. Sai Shekhar, who is a senior journalist and political analyst, and Nagesh Kumar, who is a senior journalist. All of them have now joined me on this show, and I'm very happy to have all of you here. Let me start with Shyam Prasad Meka. You know, like I said, it's a gross exaggeration to say that he has not fulfilled any promise. The first time over, it was because that he had got a statehood for Telangana, which is a huge deal indeed for the people of that region, that, they all said thumbs up to KCR. But the second time around, it was the policies, the kind of poll promises that he had made. But this time around, would you agree that there is kind of a lukewarm response and a kind of doubt towards whether he's been able to do all that successfully or not? Because a lot of them, and let me add also here a rider, because he had said he will do it time and time again, he has failed on many fronts. Shyam Prasad, what would you say?
Yeah, so just because I am from Congress, don't expect me to unreasonably blast KCR. Okay, let me logically put my thoughts. See, the first time, on the euphoria of state formation, he romped home. Okay, he actually ditched Congress. Oh, that's a political thing. Okay, let's leave that. Now the promises were, you listed out a few of them. There are a bunch of other things apart from the 3 acres land to Dalits and actually making a Dalit CM and actually implementing PG to KG free education, a 30-bed hospital in every mandal, a junior college in every mandal. These are all failed promises. But still in 2018, again, maybe people thought he wanted a little more time. But it's now, the thing is, it's all shattered dream. People are realizing it. The thing is, KCR, when he speaks something, he speaks very strongly, as if that is the reality, as if it is achieved tomorrow. He is a very, very good orator. I should give it to him. So that's what he's doing. That's why people might have given him a second chance also. But what the people like you, Sudha, and some of your viewers are missing in Telangana is, whatever KCR tells is the only thing. You have nothing, no other benchmark to compare. Right from the formation of the state, he is the only one who is ruling. I think this is time for him to go, and Congress as a party that gave Telangana, in spite of suffering the political losses because of that decision, shown great commitment to the people of Telangana. I think Congress deserves a chance. Then we need to move from there. That's how I look at it.
I did not ask you the first question because you are from the Congress party. Mr. Gurva Reddy speaks beautifully, but I do not want politics. We should be able to gauge KCR Garu in a very, very balanced fashion. What is the point of doing tutu meme? That's not my show. Anyway, thank you for your opening comments. I really appreciate that. And let me go to Nagesh Kumar, who is of course a senior journalist and a political analyst. Mr. Nagesh Kumar, I'm not saying whether it's time for him to go, although, some pre-poll analysis are saying that the Congress has a very, very bright chance this time in Telangana and may replicate its performance in Karnataka. We are only trying to gauge because see, he is called Welfare Raja, who? KCR. I mean, we South Indians, we have a different viewpoint when it comes to welfare schemes. We don't call them Revdis. Sorry, I take great umbrage at that. What is Revdi? you know. So anyway, so I'm looking at it from the prism of what he could deliver. Let's take his most successful scheme, and according to me, it is Raita Bandhu. I feel that it is Raita Bandhu. But what Raita Bandhu did, for me, please correct me if I am wrong, you know, 5,000 rupees to every farmer, and it in 2 cycles. What it has done is, it's actually turned the pro-poor thing on its head. It's made rich farmers richer. I feel these are landlords, and we know the Andhra Telangana history with landlord farmers. I mean, you've had a lot of movements there. Somehow, instead of strengthening the hands of those who are really poor and have small plots of land, don't you think Raita Bandhu has ended up, you know, strengthening the hands of rich landlord farmers, Nagesh Kumar?
Definitely, absolutely. The Raita Bandhu scheme has, by giving about now 12,000 rupees an acre to the farmers, many of them who were undeserving and were shocked to have received that amount from the government because they did not deserve it. Many of them were actually residing in the city and had leased out their land to tenant farmers, and they couldn't care less whether they would get any assistance from the government or not. But then you see, now if you look at KCR's promises during this current tenure, you have to categorize them into 3 or 4 categories. Number 1 category are those which he fulfilled early in his tenure, that is 2019. For example, Asara pensions. Asara pensions, he increased. Asara pensions were already there. He increased the amount from 1,000 to 2,000 or something. And this thing. Then comes the category of promises that he never fulfilled. Then comes the promises that he fulfilled only on the eve of the elections. Then there are promises to Muslims and to the scheduled tribes. He promised to increase the reservations for both Muslims and STs from something like 4% to 12%. But that did not happen. So that way, the net result of what he did during these 5 years was, now most importantly, he has been very soft on the employees, in the sense that he has raised the retirement age from 58 to 61. He has raised the pensions, as a result of which today the outgo on pensions, salaries, pensions, and the interest is nearly 50% of the total revenue receipts. As a result of which, Telangana, which was a surplus state, today has a fiscal deficit of something like 47,000, which constitutes 27% of its total fiscal deficit, of its total budget. So this is a huge. So the point is that he has not taken Telangana anywhere, and day in and day out he blames the center for not relaxing the rules of the FRBM, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act. So, and he says that the center is not cooperative. But he has been so generous with the taxpayers' money that that he has no ground to blame the center. Is what I feel.
Right. And thank you, Nagesh Garu. Sai, I want to come to you now. You know what Nagesh Garu said, remember he formed a committee also. I mean, it's about a rethink that he wanted to do. You will know, of course, I need not remind you, with Madhusudanachari, Harish Rao, B. Vinod Kumar. You remember, I mean, a committee was formed to take a relook at all this. Somewhere, Sai, and it is not to blame him, but a relook that he wanted to have, because he was not sure. For me, what really stands out is, that it's not about not delivering, Sai, because governing and administrating a state compared to a lot of other states, KCR Garu has done a good job. But the 3 acres to Dalits, what really shocked me at that time was, When he said, I never did, said all this. There was a, forget about flip-flops, He refused, you know it. I mean, I don't have to, I keep forgetting that you are, all of you are very, very seasoned journalists. I mean, he just refused. He said nothing like this happened. So, in between, I think as the elections drew to, closer to him, he had a rethink about all these policies. He may have felt that somewhere I have gone wrong. I have bitten more than I can chew. Would you agree?
KCR has the habit of course correction. So, we have to benchmark the 2018 promises for the upcoming polls. Whatever was promised in 2014, like Shyam Prasad was mentioning, the Dalit chief minister, 3 acres of land to Dalits, and then KG to PG, certain things could not be implemented for a variety of reasons. And he has delivered things which he has not promised also. For example, he never talked about Kaleshwaram project. And he never talked about Palamuru Rangareddy project. He never talked about the kind of development that Hyderabad has witnessed. In fact, I am seeing on your screen the various schemes. Even I am surprised the kind of schemes that were implemented. And then Asara pensions, Nagesh was mentioning about it.
I think we should, Sai, considering you are a seasoned journalist and so am I, the producers do such a great job. They read up since morning and I said no scheme should be missing, because I have people like Sai Shekhar, Nagesh Garu and Shyam Prasad Meka, they will catch us by our collar, if we miss.
So, he has implemented things which were not promised also. And as Nagesh was rightly pointing out, this loan waiver to farmers was a hurried thing that was completed only in the last few months. But a lot of promises were delivered. Actually, I have a list of the promises that were delivered and also those for which there is work in progress.
Right.
If you want, I can read them out.
No, okay. I mean, I will, I think, I'll come back to you. But the point is, you are right, some promises were fulfilled, some were, not fulfilled. But there is a general ennui, there is kind of boredom. I was speaking to someone today in Hyderabad. He said there is arrogance, A. B, there is boredom. C, there is corruption. And D, there is dynasty. I don't believe in all these acronyms. Let me be very clear. We are talking seriously about a chief minister who doesn't have such a bad record at all. But the point is that we are only focusing on those that he has not been able to promise. You may say course correction. I may look at it as someone who is completely unsure. He is bitten more than he can chew. Like Nagesh also said that, that taxpayers' money is involved in this. It is not as if he is getting it from his home. No. So, that is very important. Dharam Guruva Reddy, can I please come to you, sir, and welcome to the show. Now, I want to ask you, today we are trying to talk that, about KCR's promises which remain unfulfilled. Fulfilled, everyone knows, Raita Bandhu, one of the best schemes ever. I do not know what you would like to say about Bharosa and Bima. Of course, Asara pension also, what Nagesh Garu was saying, but the thing is that, he increased the age there, from, I think it was 57 to 65 or something, reduced from 65 to 57. It took him 4 years to implement it. If I were 57 years old, I would really be crying, 4 years to take. But your chance now, of course, please look at it from the prism of someone who belongs to Telangana, but also as, of course, your political leanings, as it were. Mr. Reddy, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for allowing me. Basically, I disagree with some of the arguments that KCR has been successful in implementing his schemes or as a CM. Actually, it's been utter flop and failure show. If we compare with the chief ministers of BJP ruled states like UP or Gujarat or Madhya Pradesh, KCR is there consistently for the last 9 years in 2 consecutive terms. And if you look at the number of promises that you're displaying on your screen, all those schemes, except for Raita Bandhu, to most of the extent, and that too had a lacuna, like there was no limitation in the in the category of beneficiaries. When we started agitating and demanding for only the poor of the poor, or maybe the poor among the farmers should be benefited out of it, because it's a public money It's a taxpayers' money that is going. It should not get into the rich man's pocket again, So there was some amendment because there was shortage of funds with KCR and you wanted to cut it down. But otherwise, Gruha Lakshmi, the number of schemes that he has announced so far, there have been only a sample cases. There was no fulfillment of 100% of any particular scheme like Dalit Bandhu or BC Bandhu or, waiver of farmers' loans of 1 lakh rupees. Nothing happened 100% yet in last 9 years of 2 terms of his government, and it's been a utter flop show. And moreover, there's a taxpayers' money involved in, as we were discussing earlier, and in excess of the limitations that a particular state has, the state has borrowed around 9 lakh crore in various forms towards the government, corporations, on various other beneficiary schemes, apart from the grants that the central government gives. So looking at the 30% government, 30% to 40% commission MLAs and ministers, there's a saying in Telangana, is a 30% government, there is a 30% cut need to get into the politicians as the bureaucrats who are involved in the development process. So you're talking about approximately 18 lakh crore brought in, inclusive of all grants,
Right.
taxpayers' money, loans and everything. You calculate 30% cut went to the politicians and the bureaucrats involved. And you look at the development, actual organic development, if happened to, among the poor, nothing. The cost of living increased, no schemes have been implemented. KCR's only income source has been the expansion of liquor business, and it's a contaminated liquor business where the youth are addicted.
Right.
We have seen scores of youth dying at the average age of 35 years, being addicted without having a job, without having any source of income. They've been addicted and they've been dependent like beggars,
Yeah.
just
Mr.
to
Reddy,
beg
yeah.
for their
Yeah.
piece of drink. And there is no answer from the government.
Mr.
The
Reddy-
government's all entire
Yeah,
let me-
land and liquor are two blots, of course, and there will be time for us to speak a lot on land and liquor that you are highlighting. But Mr. Reddy, you started this conversation by comparing Telangana with other states. Telangana is a baby, and you compared it to other states, and I think it's it's not a fair comparison at all. But what you said, of course, about land and liquor, we will examine that later and we will talk about it. Let me now go back to Shyam Prasad Meka. Shyam Prasad, the schemes that the Congress party have announced, they are pretty much, they mirror what the BRS has been doing for so many for more than 9 years, as it were, and and there is nothing wrong with it. Like they say in music, there are only 7 notes, you can only sing around those. I mean, there isn't much. But would you agree, because I have a lot of reports on Karnataka, that how the Karnataka government is also struggling to fulfill the 5 guarantees. And there is a major crater in the budget. Siddaramaiah is facing a lot of heat from his own MPs and MLAs. It's not possible to fulfill all promises that a government makes. So number one, would you concede that your schemes are very much like KCR schemes? And number two, it's unfair to say that KCR schemes remain unfulfilled because of corruption, ineptitude, whatever it may be. Shyam Prasad Meka, go ahead.
Yeah, before I get into these poll promises and 6 guarantees of Congress, let me take 5 seconds to list out another 3 issues. One is, there is gross failure on the front of recruitment and jobs for the youth in KCR's rule. So that is very clearly a failure, and the administration is not able to even come out, and they are not able to conduct even one exam without a paper leak for years. Second, the Kaleswaram is a cash cow for KCR's family, and actually a badly designed irrigation project. Then we have a much bigger debate on that. We can debate for hours.
Yes.
Then everywhere the land grabs by TRS leaders is very clearly seen by people. People are fed up with that. Okay, now having done that, so I will concede to your point to some extent that some of the schemes are similar in sounding to some of the existing schemes, but Congress have put thought into these. And also the schemes like, say, for example, the Raitu Bandhu, right? So these schemes have big holes in them. They are only for rich farmers. What about the tiller of the soil? What about the agricultural laborer? All these loopholes are fixed and made these welfare schemes really universal. That's what Congress is doing. And Congress, yeah, I know it will be a burden on the exchequer, but with consistent implementation of these schemes, actually we are fully confident of the human resources of Telangana that we are going to see a much better GDP and a lot of growth in Telangana.
Right. Let me now go to Nagesh Garu. Nagesh Garu, I want to ask you this, that the 2 BHK homes, that has been really a kind of, it's come a cropper. You know, you can make promises. You know, one of the crucial promises is to provide shelter to the poor. I mean, you take any government, this is the king of welfare, is that you strengthen the hands of the poor. You and I spoke about Raitu Bandhu, which is one of his flagship and one of the most successful according to a lot of political analysts. But the 2 BHK thing, within that also some promises. I mean, not only they were not distributed on time, there was also a promise of giving 10% to this community, that community. Muslims were also, the minorities were also promised something, you know, and they have been saying, where are those homes? I think this is going to really be his nemesis. Would you agree? The 2 BHK, it's a disaster, as it were.
Absolutely. 2 BHK program was an absolute disaster because they promised the moon and did not give anything. Because they promised, the Dalits were especially looking forward to owning flats, you know, apartments. The buildings, if you see them, they look very beautiful. And everybody, you know, had dreams of owning a apartment. But, you know, the government had also a problem of, you know, there are not enough flats or houses. You know, they are not houses, they are actually flats in multi-storied apartment, multi-storied buildings. If they gave it to 10 people would be dissatisfied. But they did not spend enough money to build enough flats for the number of beneficiaries. This was not all, you know. The government had another important scheme where suppose a person had land of his own, say a plot, then the government said that we will give you 5 lakh rupees to build your own house. But even then, and till now, that scheme also failed to take off until March 2023. And that too, only a very small segment of people have benefited from this scheme of money for building your own house, not the one that government this thing. You see, look here. You see the government, the Telangana Bharat Rashtra Samiti, in the last elections 2018 and in 2014, it fell back on Telangana sentiment, which stood it in good stead in both the elections, to see through the polls. So even if it does not succeed in any of these schemes, it can always rake up this.
No, but Nagesh Garu, I'm sorry, but that is now over. Those kids who were born in 2014 are now grown ups. You know, constituencies change, the electorate changes. That's what I'm saying. You can only manage it to some extent, sir. After that, you have to deliver, no?
No, they are talking of Bengaluru, Telangana, isn't it? Where is the Bengaluru, Telangana that they speak about every day? You see, you are now talking of unemployment. One of your now this thing on the screen, it showed unemployment allowance. They promised an unemployment allowance of 3,116 and 2,116 and I think 3,116 for physically challenged.
Right.
As, this screen is showing. But they have failed to implement it.
Right, okay. So we'll also try and understand why he has failed, you know, like Nagesh Garu says that he has failed. But what is the reason? Sai Shekhar, I also want to bring to your notice crucial things. One is education, free education from, let's say, KG or nursery till class 12. What happened to that scheme? Number 2 is Arogyashri. It was, you know, one of the flagship, health and education. Now, in Arogyashri also, I do not know, please correct me, If there is one single government hospital which has been built in the recent past, even when you look at Gandhi and Osmania, there are plans afoot to break Osmania, of course, for reasons that they say it's because to refurbish it, etc., etc. But these two areas are also big gaps, no Sai, when it comes to education and health.
Let me come to health first. He has completed, he is going to set up, he has inaugurated 30 medical colleges in 30 districts out of the 33. Okay. And every medical college has a large hospital, teaching hospital attached to it, run by the government. And in health sector, they have done actually wonders. The schemes that are being implemented in health sector, like, the costliest tests that are available only in Hyderabad, they are now being made available in other parts of the state, not just the see, if Warangal is tier 2, even in tier 3 towns also it is available. He's also laid foundation stone and work is under progress in regard to 4 super specialty hospitals on 4 corners of Hyderabad city. And on the health sector, they have actually done wonders. And with regard to education, this KG to PG thing, they have only on an experimental basis built only one facility like that in KT Ramarao's constituency, and that was excellent. But then they could not replicate the same.
So see,
thing
that's a big gap, no? Yeah, I mean, this education, only if you have education will you have empowerment of both, girls and boys, and that will lead to more. I mean, education is a very important sector for a government like KCR's, which is people's government. I mean, it is a failure.
No, I don't say it is a failure for the simple reason that KCR's government has not neglected the education sector in that sense. They have not been able to implement this KG to PG scheme, all facilities at one place.
And, but so many paper leakages, etc. That is also part of an education system being fractured, no?
Paper leakages are done by whom? You see, the examination is conducted by a constitutional authority, which is the State Public Service Commission.
Right.
So why is the state government being blamed about it? I don't understand that.
No, but the thing is, overall, it's and I hope these medical, because what I read again and again is that he's not focused on health as much as he should have. Telangana, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, during COVID also, there could be lots of allegations on Mr. KCR. But the truth is that they managed it as best as they could, and I am only talking about the quality of doctors, the quality of tests. I am not talking about whether he was cooped up in Pragati, how long did he stay there, no one came. So the thing is, I have not seen any government hospital being spoken about. Maybe, I should be reading more about it. Mr. Reddy, I want to come to you, Mr. Reddy, and I want to ask you that, you know what Nagesh Garu said, that this was promised, did not happen, that was promised, did not happen. I also understand, as someone who's mature enough, that you cannot fulfill everything. I mean, I promise my children 10 things, I deliver on 7. We all fail, that is fine. But the point is, what is the reason? Is it because of dynastic politics, like you say, is so engrossed in, saving his daughter and, try strengthening his son? Is it his bureaucrats? Is it a lack of interest? Is it his overconfidence? Because lots of editorials are now being written about hubris, that the man has become arrogant. What do you think, Mr. Reddy, is the reason?
I think you hit the nail by asking the right question. We need to introspect what exactly happened and how KCR and his family transformed from, agitators to people in government and then rulers to, then the Chakravartis, the transformation definitely happened. They've become financially rich and of course, arrogancy might have cut off with the head. But, if we talk about the performance, both sides of failure as well as success, it will take hours and hours together. If you allow me, I can talk 8 to 10 hours about it, and 90% of it I'll be counting with the numbers about the failures of the government and the reasons behind it. But we'll take one sector of health, since we've been talking about health a while ago. I'll give you a couple of lines. One, during COVID, it was not the success of the state government. Actually, it was an utter flop of the administration of the state government. In spite of having a lot of funding, they wanted to open up 4 teams is a state level organization, medical hospitals. They wanted to open up around the city. That did not happen. One team spent 1,000 crores in Gachibowli stadium. If many people, including all the opposition leaders, visited, including us, And we could not see even 10 crores invested in there, but they said they invested 1,000 crores in that. No, and that teams is not working anymore. Those 4 teams, they claim they are not functional, but we have seen Yashoda hospitals, multiple corporate hospitals coming up. We have seen many other hospitals which are related and loyal to KCR's family have come up as corporate hospitals. That is how the health sector progressed. Instead of public health, it has become a private health. Now coming to the insurance, health insurance, like Ayushman Bharat being implemented as a giant venture in the state, in spite of having thousands of crores pending bills on the the state government's health insurance scheme, Arogyasri. There were a lot of complaints, and the private hospitals stopped taking the Arogyasri patients. Now it was inevitable, and it was not possible for the KCR government to move ahead without having the central government and the Ayushman Bharat, where the central government provides a 5 lakh rupees insurance on each head. Now that has also been now tampered with, because those funds which were pending on Arogyasri cards, which were supposed to be paid to the private hospitals, now being granted by the central government under the Ayushman Bharat card, where KCR printed his picture and the state government logo instead of printing Modi's picture or a national government logo on that.
Right, but printing of picture, Mr. Reddy, with due respect, I mean, there are enough allegations of printing of pictures on everything from your party as well. So, of course, I do understand about Arogyasri and Ayushman Bharat. There are allegations the way he allegedly kind of ignored Ayushman Bharat. There is, of course, I have very little time, so I have to give equal time to everyone. I am going to Nagesh Garu. Nagesh Garu, this is a question that I have asked Mr. Reddy, I am asking you. He had good intentions. There were welfare schemes which succeeded. Some of them he left half done, some of which he were too ambitious. Now, of course, there is code of conduct, he can't do anything about it. Where do you blame? Is it that he tried to do too much and then could not really succeed? Because the poor of this country are only going to look up, at things which come to them easy. They don't want to struggle, but because there is enough struggle in their lives as such. Where would you pinpoint the mistake, as it were, Nagesh Garu?
One of the allegations against KCR is that he remembers the farmers, the poor and the workers only ahead of the elections. If you carefully go through the promises that have been fulfilled, I'm not talking about the unfulfilled promises. The fulfilled promises show that they are being fulfilled. It is a continuous process, of course. During the course of the year 2023. So, KCR's performance, if you take it for his assessment, it has been a mixed bag. In some of the areas, he has failed. In the health sector, as it was pointed out.
But why has he failed? That's what even I'm saying, that not fulfilled some of the promises. But why? I mean, what is it? The intent was there. What is it? Is it hubris? What is it?
No. I would not go into personal issues, whether it's hubris or not. He has spent lavishly on certain projects. For example, the Kaleshwaram project, he has spent 1,20,000 crores. And what is the benefit arising out of them? Just 50,000 acres of land will be irrigated. And it has been calculated that the cost of irrigating 1 acre comes to 6 lakhs of rupees. Was it worth it? And the Kaleshwaram is not a new project. It was known as it was already as a lift irrigation project. Only thing is, he has renamed it, rechristened it, and then increased its capacity. So is the Palamur project, which he inaugurated recently.
Minute left, and so Sai Shekhar, sorry Nagesh Garu, I have just 1 minute left. Sai Shekhar, I want to ask you one last question. If I can ask you, do you think that the Mudiraj community, that is the last blunder that KCR is making, the way he is ignoring them?
I doubt the risk of sounding too favorable to KCR. I would like to tell you that, people in Telangana who are now buying fish, are buying local fish. They are not waiting for fish to come from Bhimavaram or Nellore or Visakhapatnam. And he has empowered the community in such a manner that they have become financially vibrant.
Fine. But then, sure. But then, it's a good example. No one is saying, but the point is, It's very clear what Nagesh Garu said, what even Shyam Prasad Meka said, and we are not here, trying to do politics over it, because he's been a good chief minister, but it's a fact. He's facing heat. And the people always remember promises which are unfulfilled. They want to move on from promises which are fulfilled. I've completely run out of time, so my thanks are due to you, Sai. Thanks very much, Nagesh Garu. Thanks, Shyam Prasad Meka. Thanks so much for joining us. And also, Mr. Guruva Reddy, it was such a pleasure to have you on the show. So, like I said, that it is not about playing politics. This is election time. We shall bring you loads of stories from Telangana, try to create a perspective about where we are going, what direction are we taking, and therefore, we were questioning whether KCR's poll promises have failed to deliver or not. It seems some of the promises he just could not manage. And now it's time for our second story. The South Indian is ready with the second story, and it's such a quirky story, I tell you. There are thefts and heists which make us sit up. This incident in Bengaluru a week ago was one of its kind, because it was alleged that an entire bus stand had been carted away by some mysterious creatures. The lost bus stop was situated on Cunningham Road and was managed by the Bengaluru Metropolitan Transport Corporation, or BMTC. As the BMTC managed it, when they found this Cunningham Road stop was missing, an associate vice president of a company which is responsible for construction of BMTC bus shelters filed a complaint a month after the bus shelter had vanished. But the mystery of the missing bus stand has now been solved. The police cracked it and found it safe in the custody of the civic body. The 10 lakh worth bus shelter was not stolen, ladies and gentlemen, but was evicted, taken away because of substandard work. That's what the police said. Let me tell you that when the South Indian featured the story, I received a lot of calls, and many from Bengaluru, commenting on the ineptness of the police, as this bus stop happened to be situated near the city police commissioner's office. They all called me and said, what is this South Indian? I mean, you're not highlighting the fact that it was very close to the police commissioner's office. How can it go missing, etc., etc. The police then began their work in utmost sincerity and went through hours of CCTV footage before approaching the BBMP. They then told the police that the bus shelter was removed, as it was found that it wasn't constructed as per whatever other standards and was actually a threat to the safety of the people. Now, the BBMP did intimate the company which was responsible for constructing the bus shelter, and when they failed to get any kind of a response, they did what was in the best interest of the people. They removed the shelter and kept it in the BBMP ward storage space in Shivaji Nagar. So, the Cunningham bus stop is in safe custody. I wonder though what happened to the other bus stops. A bus stand at the HRBR layout disappeared overnight, and it had been standing there for 30 long years. Then a 20-year-old bus stop that went missing in Bemel layout, 3-stage Rajarajeshwari Nagar, followed by one the next year near Horizon School, and the curious case of missing bus stops seems to continue in Bengaluru, but I am sure all of them have also been kept in safe custody. So, the bus stop in Bengaluru has been found. And with that, the South Indian will bring you more and more stories every day. Join us, please write what you find nice about the show and what you find absolutely missing in the show. I would love your critiquing the show. Thank you for watching. Vanakkam, Namaskaram, Namaskara.
Hello everyone, Namaskar. I'm music composer Ricky Cage, 3-time Grammy Award winner and a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. And and you're watching me on First Person on News9 Plus.
This and more streaming now on the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now. In 2019, Foreign Policy magazine called Amitabh Ghosh one of the most important global thinkers of the decade. In the same year, he received the Gyanpith Award, India's highest literary accolade. He has won acclaim for both his fiction and non-fiction works that include The Shadowlines, The Glass Palace, The Hungry Tide, and the Ibis trilogy. Now Ghosh has come out with his new book, Smoke and Ashes, a writer's journey through opium's hidden histories, in which he says the poppy plant has